What's up guys, my name is Ace, and I'm finally back from my vacation, and today I just wanted to sort of touch base on the current state of Modern Warfare 2, largely because it doesn't really seem like there's been anything going on. I definitely expected I would be missing out on something on my week away from this game, and I came back and it turns out I missed nothing. Now don't get me wrong, I fully expect that the devs take some time over the holidays to have a little break, especially after I'm sure they had a crazy crunch leading up to launch. But we're now mid-January at this point, and we still haven't really gotten anything meaningful. Now, we did have a small update yesterday that addressed some technical issues, some bugs, things like that, but nothing that really directly impacts the gameplay. It just fixed a few minor issues here or there. And I had a look, and it turns out we haven't seen a meaningful update, like an update that actually changes the gameplay in any sort of meaningful way, in over a month now. And it really seems like this season is dragging on. We still have over 2 weeks left on this season, and that's presumably the next time we're going to be seeing anything really meaningful added to the game. And I know this is a pretty typical cycle. I feel like right around this time every single year, at least for the past 3 years, the community really starts to get restless because it's just dead silence from the devs. And I think the worst part of all of it is the lack of communication as well. Like, even if we don't get any gameplay updates, it would be great to at least see some communication from them. Let us know what kind of things we could maybe expect to see in the future, some gameplay related changes that they're potentially working on or thinking about in the background. Just anything like that, I feel like could go a really long way with the community, and yet all we've really been seeing are updates to their Trello board that basically just track a small handful of the technical issues that they're working on with no real sense of direction for the future. And then also, when they give us updates like yesterday, they just tweet out the little patch notes for it, which is nice that they're at least giving us patch notes and letting us know what changed in the update. But at the end of the day, when I look at the patch notes for that isn't going to affect the way that I interact with this game at all. And to top all of that off, another thing I noticed is they started disabling comments completely on their tweets, so nobody's even able to discuss and talk about things on their tweets. And I find that a bit frustrating as well. I realize tweets can get really toxic and horrible. I totally understand that, and I don't condone that toxicity, but to disable that completely and just eliminate sort of that discussion around whatever they're tweeting out is a bit frustrating, because sometimes it is good to see what the general consensus and reaction is from the community on that, and you no longer really get to see that, which I guess is their goal, but it kind of feels like they're eliminating a lot of the community aspect of it, and it seems like they've been doing that for years now, so just a lot of frustration surrounding the communication regarding this game. And I guess at this point, I just want to make it clear, since this may come off as a bit ranty and negative, I don't hate Modern Warfare 2. I'm still having a good time playing the game overall, but I do feel like it's still just not in a really finished, polished state. I feel like it's lacking in a lot of areas, and it isn't even close to reaching its full potential, and I just want what's best for the game. I want the game to be the best it can be, and that's why I do like making videos like this, at least from time to time, just sort of touching base on the current state of things. And with that in mind, let's get into some of the specifics of things that I still feel need work with this game, the things that I'd love to see them target, and the areas where I feel like there is room for improvement. Keeping in mind, this is going to be almost entirely focused on just the 6v6 experience in the game, the regular multiplayer. I don't play Warzone at all, and I have no interest in ever playing it again, and I barely dabble with DMZ. I think DMZ is an interesting mode. It just hasn't really hooked me completely, so I mainly just stick to multiplayer. And the big thing with the regular multiplayer is I feel like there's still not nearly enough 6v6 content, primarily referring to maps. With Season 1, it was really lackluster. The only 2 maps we got are 2 remade maps, and it's Shoot House and Shipment. I feel like before they even launched these, we've just recently played these maps to death, so it didn't really feel like it added a ton to the game, although it's nice that we can grind things a lot faster with Shoot House and Shipment. But it didn't really feel like anything new or fresh. It didn't feel like it added a lot to the experience, at least in my opinion. And I am really hoping that this isn't the new standard where we're only going to get 2 maps for an entire 11-week season in a game. That isn't nearly enough in my opinion. I think the absolute bare minimum should be 3 maps, and even that doesn't seem like enough. Like 4 seems like it should be the standard, but I could at least accept 3 at this point. And yet we only got 2 this time around, and they were both remakes. Additionally, where did Museum go? I'd love to hear some communication on that. I'm sure it was some kind of a legal issue since they used a real-life location, but I'd love to hear what's going on with that. Are they making some adjustments to the map to get around those potential legal issues? Maybe, change a few things here or there so it's different enough from the real-life location that it's not an issue. In either case, I'm sure many of us just want to know what happened to that map and if we can ever expect it to return in the future. On top of this, talking about content with 6v6, I feel like the modes are still pretty limited and lackluster as well. We've got no party game modes, there's no gunfight as well. That's something that they have promised will be coming at some point within this game's life cycle, but we don't know exactly when that's going to be coming. It also seems like the limited time modes aren't particularly interesting. We still don't have any hardcore mode. We do have tier 1, but that's more similar to the realism mode from Modern Warfare 2019 than actual hardcore game modes. And I know there's a ton of players out there that are dedicated hardcore players with COD, and they've left the game entirely because they don't like tier 1 and hardcore doesn't exist. There's also still no ranked play, although that's heavily rumored to be coming at some point with Season 2. And another thing, talking about modes that I think would go a really long way with this game, and I think would actually bring quite a few players back to the game that have already left, this would be a traditional ground war mode. I'm not talking Modern Warfare 2019 style ground war. Instead, I'm talking about the ground war where you're playing on the regular 6v6 maps, but instead of 6v6, it's now 9 versus 9 or 8 versus 8, whatever number they want to choose, where it just has a slightly increased player count on the regular maps. That's something that I think could really freshen things up with Modern Warfare 2, especially with a lot of the maps in this game that just tend to play really slow. And it's not just the maps that cause them to play slow, it's a lot of the gameplay mechanics as well. But if they were just to add some more players on the map, at least in a separate dedicated mode, I think that would really liven things up for a lot of players and potentially even get players out of that shipment grind that can really burn a lot of people out quickly. On top of that, when it comes to the actual gameplay in 6v6, it would be nice to see some improvements, some changes, just some updates to liven things up a little bit, freshen things up, and maybe just improve overall variety and balance. Now, honestly, like I said in a video a few days ago, I do feel like the gun balance is at least in a pretty good state. There may be some room for improvement here or there, but overall, I think weapon balance is decent. However, I think the big area that I'd love to see them focus on is the perk system and the perk balance. I've mentioned this a ton of times in the past, so I'm not going to get too into it here, but for many people, myself included, we hate this perk system. We don't feel like this adds anything useful to the game. Having to wait to charge up your perks, which can hold back your playstyle completely for the beginning of a match, and then you finally unlock your perks that allow you to play with a certain playstyle that you wanted to from the beginning. I just feel like this takes away from the gameplay experience rather than adding anything meaningful to it. And even with that system, even if we accept that, I feel like the balance between these tiers isn't really in a good state. And I feel like this is also leading to a lot faster burnout for a lot of people because there isn't as much variety in different playstyles throughout the course of an entire match. On a similar note, I just feel like they've lost a lot of the depth and variety when it comes to different playstyles in the game and really supporting and fostering different playstyles. Like stealth, for instance, this is the big one that they really destroyed in this game. I don't feel like firing your gun with a suppressor should disable your ghost perk. I just don't think that makes any sense. And again, I just feel like it takes away from the gameplay variety and balance overall, and just sort of homogenizes everything, which can lead to a lot faster burnout as well. Now, on top of all of that, it looks like there's still plenty of apparent technical issues with the game. Personally, I don't experience too many of them, but there are a bunch of like little bugs and issues, which I'm sure they're working on the back end. And like we saw with the update yesterday, they are getting some of these little things fixed. So that's good to see. I hope there's more coming in the future. But that's kind of where I'm at with the game. I'm still generally enjoying myself as long as I don't play it too much. I'm actually really trying to hold myself back from playing it too much because I don't want to burn myself out like I've seen a lot of other people do. But to me, that's not really a sign of a great AAA gameplay experience if your players get the feeling that they have to slow down with how much they play because they don't want to burn out. Instead, I feel like there should be an abundance of things for people to be working toward and things that keep people engaged and hooked on the game without burning out in the game. I think we've generally got a decent base of a game here. I just love to see a lot more depth and a lot more variety added to the gameplay experience overall. Part of that comes with content, and part of that comes with proper gameplay balancing that allows for far more player choice and variety in the gameplay experience. And with that, that's going to wrap it up for today's video, where I just wanted to sort of touch base on the current state of Modern Warfare 2. I'm hoping we get some solid communications sometime soon. I'm guessing sometime next week they're going to start hyping up Season 2, so we've got that to look forward to at least. And I'm just really hoping they knock it out of the park with that update, because this game has been quite stale for a while now, I feel. Now, of course, those are just my thoughts on the current state of this game, and this is where I'd love to hear from you guys in the comment section down below. What do you think about the current state of Modern Warfare 2? And what are some of the most important things that you want to see? Is it just general content? Is it some gameplay changes? Just let me know down below. If you enjoyed the video, a like rating is always appreciated. And don't forget to subscribe for more if you haven't already. I'll talk to you guys next time.